No one is. Now this is where I was talking about where you see naked Buddhas. This is the tantric room. For centuries, rooms like this weren't not granted access unless you received all the instructions. But in our tradition, we try to give people the chance to experience it before. All the lining of this, the whole border, is covered in gold and red, which is an energizing color. It actually has meaning. Okay, you won't see the typical Buddha statue here. Here's Buddha, but when you go above, it gets more exotic. See, this is Haruka. And yes, it's a male and female. And yes, they're doing what you might think they're doing. This is the female Buddha, Vajrayogini. She's usually naked, but we covered her with clothes to be more appropriate to the West here. And there's smaller statues of embrace. These red and white cakes are tormas. These are basically divine offerings. On this side, you got more fearsome-looking Buddhas, and then tantric deities embracing, or skeletons. I explain some of this to you in time, but it's very powerful, and it all has a meaning of how to transform our everyday activities into a path, so that we don't even have to. We can transform every activity. Here's a painting of Haruka, the statue I showed you, but this is the actual painting. On this side, a little more fearsome, is another traditional one in a traditional Tibetan form. Fire and many eyes and arms, and very non-Buddhist looking, but it's actually completely Buddhist. It's amazing what it talks about, what the teachings are here. This is a very special room, and I'm not allowed to go into the prayers here in the mornings. There's specific practices given to people. No, it's not what you think. It's meditation and chanting still, but it's a specific practice that ones that have got the initiation, the oral instructions, are allowed to engage in, and which I will have the access to at the end of the summer. The principal reason why I am here. I'll let you look at me. You seem to like to look. I'm going to show you something. It's not a Buddhist room, but it's called the Oak Room. It was here long before the Buddhists came through. The whole room the walls are made of oak. It's very nice. It smells like donuts in here, but it's oak. See these statues? It's the whole walls. Since this whole place is over 1,000 years old, at least most of the rooms are 1,000. Some of this is 600 years old. Here's some of the statues. These aren't Buddhist, mind you. These are wooden, I think, Christian carvings. I'm not really sure. They're very erotic, but also, have some kind of religious value to the people, because it used to also be where Augustinian monks were living. So it actually is interesting that it was also a religious institution before Buddhists came through. It's a very old room. Some of the oldest in England actually. We're one of the oldest castles that are still around, intact. People sleep in here during festivals. They rent out all the rooms. And up here is the remodeled plaster walls, and those little shields are family shields from each of the families that have lived here. I'm not sure how many, but I think over a dozen different families have lived here that have reigned in this house since the